Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome back. My name is Zone FanFic. Here, joining you guys with another Zone podcast. Here I am joined with Sai Sensei. Sai Sensei, get it up, get it up, get it up.
Thank you.
We also have FBK in the building.
What's going on? How you doing?
Yeah. So today, what's going on, guys? How's it been? I think we had the small talk. But we're gonna talk about a lot of things today. I want to get into a few things because I know you guys have spun up on like things like Boruto, Tower of God, just to name a few. So I think a Boruto chapter just came out. I don't think all of us are completely spun up on that, right? Not yet.
Yeah, I read through the spoilers. I'm pretty caught up on it.
I didn't read the spoilers, so I don't know about it, but I know it comes out tomorrow though. So, but yeah, I just saw the promotional spoilers, but nothing else.
Okay, so I mean, you guys might have a better way to sort of introduce everyone to this than I would. How's your thought on the vortex? How's it coming along so far? How are you guys liking it? Is it the creme de la creme that they say, or is there some things that could use improvement, some things that they're doing really well? How do you guys feel about
it? Sorry, you can go first.
So personally, I'm enjoying it. I'm not loving it, but I'm enjoying it. And but what I'm seeing right now is a slow start, and what I'm hoping is it continues this way. A lot of people have been saying that the pacing has been fast, but in a good, positive way, and I agree. But at the same time, I want, in my personal opinion, the most important thing that we can do is flesh out secondary characters, not focus on like 2-3 main characters, because that's Boruto is pretty much mainly Naruto and Sasuke. Sometimes you can sprinkle in Boruto and Kawaki. Toward the end, of course, I started flipping, but that I love the shift. The shift, it's been shifting in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. I'll admit that, and I'm loving that shift. We're seeing a lot of more attention on the side characters. Mitsuki, we're seeing more character development with him. Seeing character development with the Shinju, the newly awakened enemies themselves. We're seeing character development with we're not character development, but we're seeing character interactions with the Sand Ninja. So, and I'm assuming we're going to see character development with them, and we're going to understand how the personalities develop throughout the time skip. We can assume how, for example, the Shinjus, how their base personalities are, like their main character's personality are, because it's assumed that the Shinju is the flip personality version of their main counterpart. So that's interesting to see. And it's interesting to see the Shinju themselves develop.
Interesting.
Because here's a perfect another perfect example. Shikamaru himself, he's kind of been my favorite character in 2 Blue Vortex, and he's going to be the main plot shifter, I would say, indirectly, because he has great intentions with everything he's doing. He's because he's cutthroat, he means well, but
at
the end of the day,
is it me that's lagging, or is it everyone that's like?
I think it's you because I can hear him well.
I'm hearing your voice a little bit choppy, a tad bit choppy.
Yeah, Zone. I think it's you. I hear Sai well.
And I hear you
well.
Can
you hear me well?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hear you perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, you're stuck on that. You were stuck on a frame for a long time. You good?
Zone.
Yeah, Zone. I think it's you, man.
Yeah, your connection is in and out.
Okay, am I lagging?
Yes.
Okay. Shoot. Let me see what I can do about this.
And there you were talking about me being choppy.
Say again?
You come in here like now your voice is crystal clear.
I think I know what's going on.
You're speaking 1 frame per minute.
What about now?
Okay, now you good.
Yeah, you're a little bit better now.
There you go. There you go.
A little better.
Yeah, a lot better.
Damn.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So yeah, we're gonna chop this video up anyway. So I'm not stressing the lag parts. It's gonna look super clean and nice. And I've been using the heck out of this. I just moved, so I had to use a lot of different type of internet. But yeah, sorry. Go ahead. You said you were talking about the Shinju and the flip personality.
So
Did I
yeah, I
miss
was
something?
getting into Shikamaru. So Shikamaru, he's been my favorite character so far. The main character, he's gonna be the plot stirrer. He's gonna be the one that stirs the plot. I don't know to which direction he just stirs it. I'm not too sure. I think it's gonna go in a bad direction indirectly. You know, because with plot devices, they're gonna make us assume that the plot's gonna go in one direction, but of course, it definitely goes the complete opposite. So, and that's what I'm assuming is gonna happen with these events that's about to unfold. It's very interesting. Kachin Koji, he's another very interesting character. His motives are hidden along with Amato. Not as bad as Amato, but and I say his motives are hidden because we know that he knows all, but we don't know all that he knows. So that in itself is telling, and he's only revealing X amount of information. But of course, we definitely know for sure it's for a greater cause. We know he's a good, hearted guy. Honestly, we can't really fully vouch for that, but it's like 80% certain that he is, because he has many opportunities. He could have done other things, being that he does quote unquote know everything. So I don't know if you know Zone, but Kashin Koji has an ability called 10 Directions, which is he just like the Otsutsuki characters or Otsutsuki based characters. Damon and Ada, he's been implanted with Otsutsuki DNA or Shibai's DNA, but his powers didn't awaken until his battle with Ishiki. And that power happened to be what's now known as 10 Directions, in which he's allowed to see many different possible futures, and his goal is to guide the world into the best future without taking a dangerous path, without walking any other the dangerous paths, and avoiding as much of the dangers as possible. So,
what is your understanding? What is your understanding of like? Let's start with you named a few things, but what are your thoughts on just the coverage of the particular coverage of the time skip prior to some of the adaptations, like the power ups, or how do you think they're doing so far? We're not asking for a rating right now, but in your opinion, like what are some things that they're doing really well, or that you're catching that is executed pretty good? What would you say?
They're doing an amazing job at making Boruto a likable and lovable main character, and that's been one of the biggest issues in the beginning of Boruto, which took out like damn near 90% of the population of Naruto off of the series. He just hated everyone, despised Boruto. Why they hated this kid. He was like Naruto but times 10, like in terms of how Naruto was back in the day. When he was an evil, naive kid. Connecticut kid, but no, like now he's a dope character. Like he's that dude, and he's to know that he's doing a lot of this stuff in base without the usage of his karma is like it's like damn, he's really that dude. So Boruto, he's lit, but what they're doing with Kawaki too, they're making him the exact opposite. Like Kawaki, he has not taken a single win, like at all. The only one he's taken was against a regular. Regular Shinju that had a Rinnegan, and that win he still kind of took an L because he was caught off guard from that Shinju. So
I wanna say, like, I feel like it was crazy how I basically predicted like 90% of the things post time skip. Like right before the time skip, I was like, okay, well, those look like a way for Ko to invade the village. Chapter 1, he invaded the village through the claw grounds, or through the Shinju. But the Shinju are technically like they're not the claw grimes. They're not the claw grimes, but the claw grimes, I guess. Yeah, essentially a way for him to invade the village, which he did, and then also the fact that Boruto would be, I guess, in theory, or look stronger than Kawaki, because my opinion, I feel like they're about the same. However, I feel like they're as soon as we get the development for Boruto, we'll get that same development within Kawaki. And I definitely think there's some like inner dialogue that's potentially that should have occurred, or could have already occurred. Like I'm thinking maybe Ishiki, that potentially is within Kawaki, that he's just afraid to talk about it because he doesn't want to seem like a liability, right? Um, and that was largely a part of my my theory. I definitely think that for Boruto, he's potentially found a way to find balance, and I think that's the part of the training. A lot of swordplay fighting styles, it would have to largely depend on the fighting style. So I would have to go back and figure out what the fighting style of Sasuke is because he taught it to Boruto. And if that has anything to do with balance, I would say there's some correlation there, right? Um, and that potentially would could have helped him master his balance. Like you have the waterfall arc with Naruto. It's essentially the same thing, but for Boruto, right? A way to sort of help him find a way to control his chakra through his own needs. Um, but the whole like Shinju developing personality things, I didn't think they would. I didn't think it'd be like the opposite, right? I think that's very interesting. If you're seeing that, I don't know if FPK is seeing the same thing, or if you're seeing anything differently within the board chapters.
As far as Two Blue Vortex been going, I think the whole thing's been about the development of the characters, showing us Boruto's growth as far as over the last 3 years since he's been on a run, and trying to develop where Kawaki is mentally. Also, bring along other side characters such as Himawari, Sarada, Shikamaru, and his son's team. Ultimately, I think that's what they're trying to do. Even with the Shinjus, to me, they're not the true antagonists. They're kind of so far they're kind of misunderstood, and they've been given a task, and that's the task that they're trying to carry out to figure out who they are. But I don't see them as a true antagonist yet. I feel like we've yet to get to that part. That's going to be the twist that we get later on. But right now, it's all about building all of these characters and getting to a point where we're at a battle and everybody's truly trying to figure out what's going on, because we got a lot of parts intertwined here. We still got the fact that everybody's under the omnipotence. We've got Kashin Koji and his 10 direct, not 10 direction. What do they call it again?
Injection.
Prescience. Yeah, prescience. Yeah. Same thing. But and I think with both of these intertwining with omnipotence and prescience both intertwining together, they're almost like two sides of the same coin. One's doing one thing, the other's doing the other thing, but they kind of seem like they both are skills. Well, they both are skills of the Otsutsuki. So ultimately, I feel like they're giving us bits and pieces of everything intertwined that's gonna all come together later, and everybody's like, okay, we want to see more. We want to see Boruto do more. We want to see Kawaki do more. We want to see Sarada's Mangeki. We want to see what Himawari has in store. What Shikamaru gonna do? Is Naruto ever gonna get out of that dimension? We all want to see this stuff, but I feel like they're slowly trying to build all the story up. They want to give the Shinju enough time to make it feel like they've kind of grown and got an understanding. And I feel like it seemed like it was fast paced at first, but they're slowing it down now in order to kind of give you more feeling and just a little bit more touch to each volume as it comes. So I like the pacing that they're doing, and though it seems like we're not getting enough, it's the subtle things within each chapter. The development of these Shinju, the development of Sarada and this love triangle she got going on with Boruto and Sumire. Who Sumire truly is and why is she important. All she really has done is talked about stalking Boruto and
she wasn't even mentioned in the first part of the Boruto. Like she was really mentioned in the first part. So
well, she was always kind of seen. She's always been there. Like his characters, we know from the anime that's never gotten any showcase in the manga, but she's always kind of been around, which kind of tells me she's like a Chekhov's gun almost. Like she's always in the picture, so she's gonna have some kind of importance in the later on of the story that we've yet to realize.
I feel like it's going to be a negative impact for some reason. I don't know, like the same way she was introduced in the anime, but not in that same way, but like the same sense that it was negative. She's going to have something negative, and I think she's going to like something. I feel like some type of conflict is going to, or division is going to happen. Everyone's going to figure out what's the truth with Kawaki, and there's going to be a division. And with that division, I feel like Sumire might pick that side or something like that. I don't know, and I feel like she's going to. I don't know. I feel like she has something to do with that. I do want to talk back too with the foil between.
Interesting. Why do you feel that way?
I don't know. It's just whatchamacallit. I just felt like the shipping between Sarada and Boruto is intentional. So I don't know. I feel like because of that, Sarada, what's your name, is going to shift from that and reach towards Kawaki, I guess.
Yeah. Because
I know we know how Kawaki feels about Ada, and Ada how she feels about Kawaki. Ada is kind of like shifting away from Kawaki indirectly. She's shifting her feelings towards Boruto. It's the love triangle is crazy in this. So everyone's shifting their feelings, and as a result of that, sides are going to be shifting, and people are going to shift their views and pick sides. So I think there's going to be a great divide, but this is going to happen in the future. I wanted to talk back though on the Kawaki and Boruto foil. I always felt like it was going to be the opposite of Shippuden. Naruto was insanely weak in the beginning of Shippuden versus Sasuke, who could have easily killed him. Like they said he was about to use Kirin or Karen or whatever that the jutsu is with the lightning. They say he was about to use that right then and there in that moment when he met Sasuke in the time skip. So that's the gap that we're witnessing right now. Like they're not nowhere near close to each other. Like they're like very far apart. In fact, I would say Himawari and Mitsuki can easily kill Kawaki and Damon. Like all of those characters are stronger than Kawaki at this point, unless he gets his limits. He does have limiters placed on them based upon words from
I'm telling you, man, that dude is
Kawaki. But he's gonna unleash his powers for sure. He's gonna get up there. But the way he's gonna get up there is not gonna be through training. It's gonna be through unleashing his limits and just taking the shortcuts. They're basically the same way he's been doing it. Through scientific means. But
I think Kawaki is powerful. I just don't think he's skilled, so he doesn't know.
He was trained by Jigen. He just didn't hone his skills. He was trained by Jigen for years. Like he literally.
It's almost like Naruto. Naruto was powerful.
Gohan.
He just wasn't skilled till he started learning different Rasengans and different methods and techniques and stuff like that. Like Naruto was always powerful because of the Nine Tails. He just don't have any skills to apply to the power that he has.
He hasn't adopted anything ninja based into his arsenal.
Right.
He doesn't mess with anything ninja related. So that is very true. He doesn't like the age of shinobi is over according to him. But
so what I was saying before, sorry, go ahead, finish your point.
I was just gonna say, was Delta? I know I don't want to speak on spoilers, but like I remember the last time I mentioned Delta, it was with Kamui on his stream, and we were talking about her feet, and I was stating like, if you recall back in part 1, she would use rocket boots to move around and fly around, but in this part, she's not flying around with those rocket boots. She's flying around casually, So when I saw that, I was like, damn, she's definitely her karma has an Otsutsuki in it. There's some type of Otsutsuki in it. So,
because she's not flying.
Well, that was OG Delta. This is Bronco, remember?
Yeah, this is the new Delta, the awakened one. So
she's not using jets. She's using.
So was it revealed in the spoilers? Like, what the truth about that?
About what, Delta and Bronco?
Yeah.
No, I don't think anything about them was necessarily revealed. What was revealed, I think Amado, after he shut down Kawaki, and after he woke Kawaki back up, he had a conversation with him about putting his karma on his daughter, which he made a new clone body of his daughter Akebi, and he revealed that to Kawaki, saying that in order to fully manifest her and bring her back, the karma has to be placed on her, so her data can be downloaded into this new clone body.
I'm gonna be completely
honest. And of course, Kawaki's having doubts saying
that. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't hear anything
about another Osusuki.
No, go ahead. Zone.
I'm about to clarify. You're saying that you're just clarifying that Amato's daughter is basically to basically reawaken, and she needs to have Kawaki's karma put on her. Did I miss anything right there?
Nah, that's pretty much it. And he just revealed that he has a new clone made specifically to be Akebi that won't be Delta.
Interesting. Yeah. So as you guys could probably already tell, I haven't probably read the last two chapters of Boruto. But in regards to like
and he actually shuts Kawaki down in these spoilers. He shuts him down, uses some type of passphrasing. Shuts Kawaki down, but I think it's more, and something just tells me that Amato is either the true antagonist or he's being used by the true antagonist.
Yeah. I mean, I was saying the exact same thing before the Tubu Vortex. Basically, I was thinking that Shiba is basically either controlling Amato and controlling all the other. Which is, I put a sort of a where basically I was thinking Shiba was also somewhat controlling, or a part, at least physically, to all the other Ishikis. And by proxy, now he's sort of in control of the Shinji. I definitely feel like Code is one of those like plot building characters where he basically comes in and something new, new layers and build in the plot. Himawari is giving me that vibe as well. Amato's giving me that vibe.
To me, well. Code is like
I feel like those are just the baseline plot people.
To me, Code is like a kid that's never gotten love, and like he just Ishiki was the first person to kind of recognize him, and he just took that on as a version of love, and he's just been trying to show and prove that he can be that specifically, which is trying to get to and be with Osusuki.
Yeah, no, interesting that you say that. Are you saying that he may want to have a?
I think ultimately in the end,
like more of like an intimate relationship.
I think ultimately in the end that I think Boruto is going to flip Code. I think Code's going to go right up to the point of being the big bad before whoever the true antagonist turns on him, and then he's gonna flip to the good side.
See, I want to give Kishimoto that level of creativity, but for some reason, I feel like these Shinju are only going to be ways to sort of accumulate power in more of like a tree branch fashion, like a tree sucks up water, the roots suck up water. I definitely feel like they're going to suck up chakra in certain ways, accumulate chakra that way, and then what they're going to do is basically implant a seed.
I mean, technically, aren't they chakra anyway?
Yeah. I mean, so if they come together, I think they could create like a god tree or a god fruit. God fruit.
I mean, in order to create a God fruit, all they would have to do is eat a Osusuki or Boruto or Kawaki. Right?
Exactly. So to do that, or they may be able to do that somehow through code. Now, I definitely think if someone's going to die and be sacrificed, that would be Kawaki. So he could ultimately be trying to like develop into that role of a sacrificial lamb type of role. I think they're definitely going that route to where at the end you could say, okay, well, his character navigated into the more Naruto
I don't think
route,
they
whereas
can kill Code.
Sasuke,
Though.
as he always comes in
my
last
problem.
second, and he. Right, I think instead of killing Code, they're going to absorb Code. They're going to do the whole Black Zetsu thing, and they're going to absorb Code, and they're going to find a way to basically, whether that's through obtaining Kawaki's Karma Cell first, then absorbing Code, and then basically once that happens, I think let the forces combine type of thing is going to happen, and basically Shibai is going to either be reborn like Kaguya in the physical nature or the world, in the ninja world per se. I definitely think that's going to happen toward the end, and this is all sort of just building up into that. Like we talked about the training thing earlier, right? Whereas sort of like Naruto and Sasuke, Sasuke did the whole training route post Shinju. Shippuden, right, or in Shippuden, as opposed to, or rather, he did the training route. But the way that I think it's going to happen, I think because they mirror each other as much. I definitely think that Kawaki is going to take more of the meditative route, as to where Boruto is going to take more of like the training route, and that's how they're going to basically master themselves in their own chakra to basically find balance within their. Because that's what Kishi is about. He's always about balance, man.
You said Kawaki taking a meditative route?
I've never seen him do anything differently. Yeah. I think like post what was it called? Or I guess the first 3 chapters of Two Blue Vortex, he was literally like saving villagers, right? So I was like, okay, that's interesting. Now, it wasn't like he was still like coming off like a little snobby and stuff, right? But a little part of him looked like he sort of it was basically like a warrior after like years of battle, right? They kind of a little soft. I think that the village has really made him like comfortable, right? It's definitely made him comfortable in the sense over that 3 years, and he found sort of like a liking and appreciation, and he got to in a way got to understand Naruto in a sense a little bit more. And I think he's going to follow Naruto's route and go the more whether I don't know who's going to basically help him get to there, where he basically is able to help basically go to like do like a waterfall thing, or have one of the waterfall moments where he can sort of accept that dark self. I don't know if he's already did that, or if he just needs a motivation factor to get there, and it just hasn't happened yet. Because we know Boruto was attacked in the time skip, which basically was a catalyst to help him train a lot harder over the course of those 3 years, and through that, he may not even be there yet. There may be another catalyst to help them motivate to the next level. However, I think that things look a little bit differently. It's going to look a lot like beginning Shippuden. I think this is starting to look a little bit like beginning Shippuden, and this is exactly what I predicted. How Sasuke looks a little bit stronger than Naruto. However, Naruto could have killed Sasuke with the Nine Tails if he wanted to. Beginning of Shippuden, but that's just not in his character. The same with Boruto. He could. I think it's sort of we're making Kawaki Naruto in this sense. So I think Kawaki still has it in him to basically snap into that mode, but because of the character development that he's went through, which I think is going to be a catalyst to help build that motivation back.
I don't think.
I feel like we're missing a lot, and that we dive into this like the first few chapters. That way we can sort of get it over with. But I definitely feel like they're holding back a lot of information, a lot of like, why is Kawaki like this? He can't just be weaker. They were supposed to be.
I don't think he's gonna be. I don't think Kawaki's gonna have any real kind of skill or ninja training that gets him to that level. I think he's gonna go full out Otsutsuki route in order to get his power, and he's just gonna be a pure powerhouse. Which in a way is gonna kind of mirror the Naruto and Sasuke relationship. It's just he will not have any kind of true ninja skills. He's punch, kick, blast type person, and his power is going to come from 10 tails ultimately. So that's how he's going to get his power, whether that be he starts to absorb the Shinju or gain some type of power from them or whatever, but that's going to be his power ultimately. He's going to have his eye, the Kokugan, and he's going to have 10 tails power, and that will be his brand of power. Meanwhile, Boruto will be the skilled one with his Jogun eye, and his bag of techniques will be what gets him by to kind of equal the field.
Yeah.
Although he won't be as powerful as Kawaki, just because of the 10 tails power, he's going to be able to kind of figure out ways to get around it. Kind of like Sasuke.
Oh, okay, I see. So I'm just trying to figure out like what's going to be like the main equalizer, because we know the equalizer.
It's going to be 10 tails.
I already know
10 tails and a Jogun.
It's going to be like I feel like it'll really require a I don't know. I feel like I'm lying right now. I feel like base level is pretty clear. At least sports is stronger. However, I feel like there has to be a catalyst to really. It can't just be like power. It has to be some type of mindset shift to where it really pushes that Kawaki.
I can't really see it because Kawaki already has a dog mentality, a dog mindset. So he already has mind. He just doesn't have the power to be able to match it. If he has that power, nobody will be able to kind of touch him, except for somebody that's truly skilled and able to get around his power. So that's kind of it's just like Naruto and Sasuke ultimately. Like Naruto was so powerful that it took somebody truly with skill to be able to match him, and that's what it's going to be with Kawaki. Kawaki can't have the skills. If he has the skill set, then you won't be able to stop him.
Okay, so you think it's purely just skill based, and that's
Boruto will have the skills, and Kawaki's going to have the power. And I know the karma is just basically what gets them to the Otsutsuki level, but it's what they have extra that will make them the opposite.
So what about? I'm sorry, I don't know if I got that.
I was saying is what they have, which will be the Jogun and 10 tails, that will make them the true opposites of each other. The most skill that Kawaki has will come from his eye. But that's all he get. All he gets is the shrink and pop back up or shrink items. That's all he's gonna get.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. Maybe you're right. I don't know.
Besides that, it's gonna be key blast and whatever he do with his arms to turn it into a tree.
You said he's gonna turn his arm into whenever he turns his arm into a tree.
I mean, that will be his kind of fighting styles and abilities. That's what he's shown us thus far in the story.
So the way I interpret like Kawaki's moveset, I attributed to like his amount of like brutal teaching, right? Like his particular like him using his arms as trees to like impel people, right? I think that's sort of like baseline moves, and he doesn't really understand like the brutality of that, like the nobleship around like killing someone swiftly, right? He doesn't know anything outside of brutality, so like brutality is like a baseline for him. So the next step for his character development would have to be some way to really either develop that brutality, and to do that, I think there has to be like some level of like nobleship building, right? To really open up his eyes to horizons. And Jura and the Shinju, they may be doing that. I just haven't seen the catalyst yet. I don't know. I don't know when it's happening, or if it's happening now. Again, I may need to read the last few chapters to really get a more valid opinion on this. And again, you guys are spun up, so you guys would have the best, probably the most accurate or opinion in terms of the timing of the knowledge. But yeah, I think it's interesting. I don't know. Any last thoughts on that topic, Si?
I'm just still unsure about the Shinju and how their role will develop. Whether they can actually, like I said, I think they can actually go to turn out to be useful, depending on which way they're written.
I just hope that once they return to their original bodies, that so we see, you know, with Sasuke. I hope at least the memories from the original Shinju transfers over. But we know with Sasuke, his eyes covered and it's morphed within a tree. I'm almost 100% certain. You know, and we know the trees. It's kind of usually associated with Hashirama cells. Almost certain that eye is definitely healed up. So I'm not sure if it has its original dojutsu. I would assume it at least has its Sharingan properties.
So, Sasuke comes with his Rinnegan and his arm.
I'm hoping it's the Rinnegan rebuilt, but that was a given ability. It's not his really genetic, but it's stuck with him so long. It probably is still, because they say you can lose an eye or dojutsu, but still have the chakra from it lingering around from it. So if that's the case, and he still has a little bit of chakra left in that eye that has the Rinnegan, then he could possibly get it back. That'll be nice. That would be nice to see him come back full powered, and then maybe with Himawari being that she has Kurama, she could possibly give Naruto half a Kurama, being that she's kind of like unstable with it, something like that. So it'd be cool to see them make a comeback. Or that's just me saying how the two main, like Naruto and Sasuke, can be introduced, but also how the Shinju, it'll be nice to have the people who are taken over as Shinju, how they can be reintroduced with power-ups, So it's a nice, appropriate way to give them back, A lot of fans complain, oh man, he was nerfed. No, it wasn't nerfed. Like, if you understand what happened in the moment, what powers were utilized in the moment, and why everything happened, it makes sense. So, and these power-ups or them regaining their powers at that point, for that, it makes sense,
That's interesting. That's an interesting take.
Definitely.
So you think there'll be power-ups? Okay.
I'm hoping.
I mean, it makes sense if they come out the trees for them to receive some type of healing from the trees, and I'm not so sure about Naruto reuniting with the Nine Tails now, just because he is completely out of him. It was completely burnt out of him, and now it is in Himawari. I don't think it needs to be shared with him. I think Naruto can have a new power up that comes based upon his own true power.
I don't know how the man's going to compete. I can't see.
I don't foresee Naruto or Sasuke coming back until like the very end, at the very least, because the way they killed them off is like swept them away. I guess we'll say that. It basically pushed them to the sidelines, and when they do that, it basically is an indicator for me that they're not returning for a long time. If they do return, and when they do return, they'll be so insignificant and they won't really be extremely vital to the whole, like, the main plot. It'll probably be like toward the end, just for like a happy ending. So it'll probably be like the last battle. Hey, everybody, let's go. You know, Edo Tensei type thing, where everybody, you know, they tried to do the flip the Edo Tensei. It'll be like the same thing, but like bringing Naruto and Sasuke back. And at that point in time, I think it'll be a good way for them to show. Again, I think it's gonna come around full circle to where Kawaki is really gonna try to impress Naruto, and I think he's still trying to fill his footsteps. So I'm gonna still go with the route that he is trying to basically, like, he was able to see some things, but he disagreed initially when it came to the village that you know, this was the way for him. But he's got to see some things. I feel like he's gonna put his own little toxic you know, flip on you know, doing good for the people, because he ultimately does want to do good. He wants to eradicate the Otsutsuki, right? He just has a twisted way of going about it. So he does have good intentions, and again, he is Naruto's son by default, right? At least now, or he formed that relationship. I don't know. You know, I'm gonna have to.
But that's where I feel like Sarada's going to play a major role and allow Boruto to play the background of kind of like the Sasuke role. Ultimately, that's what they're leading up to. Sarada's going to get that Hokage spot, and Boruto is going to be able to back her up. And that's where she's going to play a major part with her Mangekyo and whatever power that she's able to have. And Mitsuki will be like her secondary backup, and Boruto will be like the Otsutsuki protecting from the shadows or for the world or something like that.
Okay. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts, Ty? Oh, is that on?
He muted.
I don't know. I think I understood. I'm gonna have to give it some thought, and again, I'm gonna have to read those last few chapters. I'm gonna make a full breakdown of not only the stream, but I'm gonna make a separate video and put it on the main channel. So if you guys want to check that out, make sure you go. Just head over there if you guys are not familiar with that channel. And
what was the question? I'm sorry.
I might even have FBK since they joined me to continue this conversation. And just, you know, create like a collage video type of video for that. I don't know. Let me say again, son.
Yeah, weren't you asking me something? I didn't unmute myself in time, and I ended up letting you talk. But you said, yes. What were my thoughts? What were my thoughts?
I was saying, because I'm getting a lot of lag. I couldn't really catch FBK like that, so I was basically asking for your rebuttal.
Oh damn! No, I had nothing. I had no comment.
Okay. All right.
What'd you have next up?
What's that?
You can talk about.
I said, what did you have next up?
That's what you.
Oh yeah. Dude, I don't know. We might have to cut this one a little short.
This is not much to talk about.
Just,
you know, I just wanted to talk about the improved animation from last season to this season. This season has been it's nice. It's nice, and they've been keeping their words in terms of saying that, you know, everything that I've been seeing. Like, for example, I've heard episode 3 is going to be better and introduce new content was not you know, introduced in the movie, and you know, they were true to the words. The animation in episode 3 was great. It was much better than episode 2, and it's safe to assume it's going to continue to get better throughout the season, which is great, because you know, we're off to a great start this season. So I'm enjoying this series. So a lot of people are complaining and saying there's no story or whatever. It's just straight up action, whatever. But I don't know. It's
definitely not straight up action. It's just it's solo leveling.
You say weird takes. I don't know if it's for the sake of getting clicks or getting reactions out of people, and that's just been an annoying new trend that's got to stop. But people,
I think it's because they didn't read it, like, and if you kind of if you kind of like, if you read it, then you kind of understand all the power-ups and what's going on. But if you're just watching it, then you have to kind of pause it and see like a lot of the abilities and then the stuff that he's getting along the way to really understand. But if you read it, then you kind of got to see it along the way. It is a little bit fast-paced as far as the anime, but I like that because I read it, and I guess I'm not that slow. I kind of understand where they're going with it.
That makes me excited to actually read it.
Oh, you haven't read it?
No.
Man.
Usually when I get into something new, I watch, especially if I watch before I read it, I wait until the second season comes out. So once the season ends, I'm going to read the whole thing. So
yeah, that's a great binge.
Yeah, I did the same thing with Jujutsu Kaisen as well. And yeah, that was nice.
This is a great arc as far as in Solo Leveling. The first season, it was good as far as just kind of bringing it along, telling about the whole system and how he's progressing and how he got to where he is now. But this season here, I guess it is going to be kind of fast because he's leveling up fast, and I do believe we'll kind of get into the Ant saga by the end of it, as I know they kind of spoke on it. So I think this is going to be really good.
Quickly, in episode 3, was that his dad that was introduced?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, that's dope.
Yes.
He slapped that dude. That's crazy. It was nice to see him get humbled finally. Like, he was, chill. So that's interesting. I like plot stuff like that. Snuck in. That made me like, okay, I want to find out more about this dude. So he's been stuck in that realm for like 10 years in the gate.
And you learn more about it later on. Like, they just kind of introduce him early. But you learn more about him.
Are we going to figure out more about him throughout this season, or?
Oh yeah, no.
Is it this season or later on when we actually figure out more about him?
The last arc of the season is going to be the Jeju Island arc. So if that happens, and if we figure out more about him in between now until then I guess it happens then. But if it happens after that arc, then
I think we'll get bits and pieces, but we don't truly get to see him until later on in the story.
So after the island arc?
Yeah, Jeju Island. I can't remember Zone. His dad don't really play a part on the Jeju Island, does he?
No, his dad is very off screen. I don't think his dad's gonna show up until like the end. Yeah, he stays in the city for the most part.
Interesting.
Yeah, but Solo Leveling is I like it. I've been watching it every Saturday. Every time it comes out, I think they're doing a fantastic job with the animation. I also think that there's like a spin-off as well that's supposed to be going on. I think there's a few episodes out. I think it's called like Solo Leveling. I could be wrong, like Ragnarok or something like that.
Ragnarok.
It's called something. I'll get the name.
It's Ragnarok. It's based upon his son's story and the lore of Ragnarok, which is like the end of the world in like Norse mythology.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I feel like this is going to be more lore based. So I think it's going to be. Didn't he take a break before starting this one?
Yeah, he did.
That's great. That's perfect. That means he had time to really think about this. Because I don't like for people to be eager, or not people, authors or artists to be eager to jump into the next story, and just make sure they have everything planned out. But what's something I was going to say that I forgot? Damn. Yeah, it was about the animation. Speaking of animation, how do you guys feel about Tower of God and this season's animation compared to season 1's animation?
I think they were true to the story. If you read Tower of God's first season, you could tell it was somewhere in between the first season and the second season where they changed up the even the animation in the manga. They actually changed the art.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there, because they had like at least in my, I think the animation, and I'm gonna just be straightforward. I love Tower of God, but season 2 the animation wasn't too good. It wasn't too hot. I think if you look at the animation quality in season 1, you can tell that there was like there was 3D. There were 3D objects in the back, 3D objects being used, and also like drawn backgrounds, um, along with like 2D animation. So it was the way that it meshed. It was perfect.
It was unique. It was unique, and I liked it.
Yeah, I mean,
it was very. It was very.
It carried like a retro,
early cartoonish.
Yeah,
yes.
a retro vibe, but like a retro / modern vibe, and it worked. It matched it because it's that world. It's its own world. It feels like it's a retro world, but it's not. It's its own world, and that aesthetic match. But whereas the season 2, they went with the cookie cutter way, where every other seasonal anime, well, not every other, but like I want to say isekai that's coming out, that's kind of how they animate their seasons. It's not the best animation, but it's just they follow the story, and that as long as they do that, they're gonna retain the viewers, or at least the loyal story viewers, regardless of the animation.
The manga did that too, though. I don't know if y'all realized that, but the manga did that too.
What did what?
Changed art styles.
Yeah, no, you're right. It did.
Yes.
Like
early on in the manga, it was like season 1, but then they kind of changed to the cookie cutter type style that we get now.
I feel like it's almost the opposite. I feel like initially we didn't have the best animation, and then it started to get better. So it started to get more like, instead of it being like a flip flop, like season 1 gets better, season 1 is better than season 2 animation. I think it was like season 1 artwork wasn't as good as season 2, and it sort of progresses as the skill adapts. And again, this is completely subjective. So I take it how you will.
No, I agree 100%.
Just my thoughts on that. But I agree. I feel like season 2 animation wasn't all there. I think a lot of people felt that way about it, and for me, it was just very disappointing because I would have loved to have a good studio hop on it, and just go crazy with it, because I feel like there's so many avenues, so many different perspectives that can be adapted that just weren't really, like Yurik popped up. Yurik Mizuno is like number 3 strongest person in the tower, but he pops up on the screen like way more often. Like he shows up way more often than I think he personally should. However, they could do it correctly, and they could have it to where he's like freaking the Navy in One Piece, right? Or he's like freaking Kakashi, right? Kakashi, every time Kakashi arrives in the battlefield, you don't necessarily always know exactly when he'll be there, but when he's there, it's spectacular. And you're like, okay, we just got an equalizer on the battlefield, right? This is out of like, I want to say thousands of people in the tower. There's like a top 200, and there's like a list of like rankers and high rankers. He's a high ranker. Two slots above him is like the king of the tower at like number 2, and then there's like there's a guy that passed away in Ryu, right? Who I think was number 1, until he basically left the tower or disappeared from the tower, right? But the lore is like top notch, bar none. And I think I got a theory confirmed, which I wasn't necessarily. I was like edging toward it being like a freak. I was like, he's like Yu-Gi-Oh! Basically. I don't know if you've watched like old school Yu-Gi-Oh! Where you got like Seto Kaiba, and you got like freaking Yugi Boy, right? Have you seen that side? Are you old enough for that?
No, I used to collect the cards. I was one of them weirdos. I collected the cards in terms of Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon, but I never watched the show. I just could never get into it. I mean, I always grew up. It was always
Yu-Gi boy.
in the morning before I had to go to school and catch the bus. It was always on at 6, but like I just never watched it. I could never tune in. I wanted to ask: is the manga still going for Tower of God?
We're on hiatus right now while they're working on season 4, as well as they're working on season 4, and they're also working on the spinoff, which will give more details into
in like the manga world. That's what they call them, seasons. Like
they call them seasons.
Okay, that's dope.
It's different because the arcs are broke down into sagas, kind of. So when we get you got the whole arc is like I guess it's several different arcs, and then you got sagas inside of each arc, but they all culminate to become one season. And we're going into season 4. That's just how long this story is.
Damn, that's lit. I do want to say this too before
I don't think it'll match up to like anime seasons either. I don't think, like, because we're in season 4 of the manga, I don't think season 4 of the anime will be season 4 of the manga.
So if we're season 2 right now, how much did we cover in terms of the manga right now? Like
we covered a lot of ground.
Shoot, if we just finished season 2 of the anime, we're still in season 1 of the manga, right?
Damn, no way.
Are we in season 1 of the manga?
I think where does season 2 of the manga start?
Hold on, because we got Rachel's betrayal, and then so I think we're like we're in season 2 for sure. We're in season 2. We're still in like the first quarter of season 2. Because I think season 1 is like the shortest season, and then we have you can confirm that right now. I'm pretty sure that's the case.
While you do that, I want to say this before I lose my head. My thoughts on season 2 overall, the execution of how they did with storytelling wasn't the best at all. Like, I think they could have done a much better job.
For what, Tower of God?
Yeah.
And why do you say that?
I don't know, the story in terms of compared to season 1, it kind of felt all over the place. I had to rewatch some parts to like kind of follow what was going on. It just felt like everything was just playing there. It was how certain scenes can be done better with more attention or just make scenes more dramatic. I don't know. Every character felt like it had the same. It brought the same tension and dramatic effect. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I can't describe it. I felt like the animators focused more on the effects of attacks and powers and like the arts and like the flashiness of moves and powers versus like the fluidity of everything. I don't know if that makes sense.
I'm not sure exactly what you mean, but what I will say is that I understand that there's some like season 2 and they even put like a workshop the workshop arc in there, right? But in regards to the animation, I feel like it's best to and again, a lot of people, a lot of fans, they were very disappointed in the artwork within season 2. So yeah, everybody is pretty much on the same page as far as what they could have did. They could have did a lot better. However, I will say this: a lot of animes, especially animes that have 600 plus chapters, or about 600 to 600 plus chapters, started off very poorly. If you look at some of Part 1 Naruto or Part 1 One Piece, Part 1 Dragon Ball,
but we're in a different era though, and this is supposed to be seasonal, and arguably season 1 was just better than season 2. I don't think the art was bad in season 2. I just thought the animation was not fluid, and like how you said with the ranker, the number 3 guy that was shown often, how it could have been better executed to reveal his character and make him more suspenseful. I'm talking about stuff like that. I can't name any specific scenes, but it's moments like that that they could have. Like, there's certain scenes that were supposed to have tension, but like it didn't give me any impact. I'm just watching. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, okay, cool. Okay, that happened. Okay, oh, he's about to die.
Like,
Okay.
what scenes in particular are you referring to?
I would have to go back. Like me not being able to really recall the scenes, like that's I would have to go back and watch and like skim through episodes and like pinpoint it. I can't really recall it, and that's a bad sign for me because usually I'll be able to recall like a scene if it was that impactful within the series. So like I can recall and remember scenes from season 1 more better than season 2 as I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's
Okay,
gonna differ
so
for everybody, but in terms of like the holy crap. Okay.
So what I got so far is that basically season 2 of the anime is pretty much gonna be split in half. We watched the first part of season 2 of the manhwa in the anime, and where they're gonna come back with will be the Hell Train, which will be the second half of season 2 in the manhwa. And that'll end up the season 2 in the manhwa ended at the Calavan and Last Station.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Like I was saying, it's basically they're still in season 2. Season 2 is pretty large. A lot of people don't realize how big season 2 is. That's why I'm not really stressing it. Again, there's still so much to cover within season 2, and they could very well segment off into cores, like Bleach is doing. Personally, I think they're going the more longevity route, just so people can sort of get a feel for like how the animation style, like what animation styles they can play around with, and also the budgeting as well. They released a video game. I believe that didn't do quite as well. So I always say, if we want quality to be increased or to maintain consistent, it's best to support the writers and authors.
Well, that first half of season 2 that we just recently watched, it covered 110 chapters. The second half of season 2, if we finished it, we'll have to cover 330 chapters, roughly.
So season 2 altogether, like that, only covered half. Like the season 2 of the anime covered half of season 2 of the manga, right?
It covered less than half.
Okay, that's nice. That's
like
nice.
a quarter, yeah. Like I was saying, it's like a quarter.
That's nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know, because we're basically already rolling into season 4. However, again, like PK said, we're going on hiatus. I basically where I'm at in the just to kind of give you guys some context, and I'm gonna do like a separate video on this, but where I'm at in the manga or the manhwa basically is where he's discovering, like he's able to sort of communicate with V, and by he I mean Bomb. You remember when that happened, right, BK?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So that's essentially we still got to go through like local BIA, understanding what local BIA is, going through the beast people, which we're introduced steadily through them now. The kin, the beast kin, and then that's a whole arc. I feel like that's like a quarter of season 2. It's a lot. But I like the fact that it's able to kind of segment things into sagas, and it's been breaking them down here pretty nicely. We're getting to see like some of the some of the relationship between like Fug and the tower. You know how Fug is sort of, at least in my current knowledge, how Fug is basically this force of the tower, this anomaly of the tower. They do things like behind doors, behind the king. The king watches all, right? The king, and he communicates with the administrators, and each floor has an administrator. It's just a massive, massive project that the only thing I feel like they need to do is they need to incorporate better animation. Go back to the season 1 animation. I don't exactly know, or rather remember why there was a change for animation, but this should be an indicator, that the animation quality is just not there, at least where it was.
And I think some of that would have to do with probably how long they worked on season 1 of the anime as compared to season 2.
Yeah.
How long they had to work on it, and they gave us what 20. We had 12 episodes in season 1, and we got 24, 25 in season 2.
I don't know. Is the anime even finished yet? I didn't watch today's episode. I don't even think I watched last week's episode. So it could be
Oh yeah, season 2's over. Oh well, what they've given us for season 2 so far is over.
Okay, so he basically got the second thorn, which is big. Is big. It's a big power up. A lot of his abilities he just doesn't know how to use right now.
You said second thorn?
Yeah, the second thorn.
No, that's the first thorn, right? It's just the real thorn.
He got a thorn already.
No.
So basically, okay. So the way I understand it, that it's like a small fragment, and that was basically like a larger, more condensed, more powerful thorn. So there should be 2 thorns. There should be 2 thorns there. You're saying
I thought it was he had an artificial thorn at first, and now he's gotten the real thorn that artificial was based on.
No. They should both be real. Does have a fake thorn? No, Bomb does not have a fake thorn. Hold on.
Because the second
fake
thorn he gets when he goes to the hidden floor, right?
So this is what I'm. Hold on, this is what I'm reading. Say that again. Say what you just said.
Doesn't he get the second thorn from like the hidden floor or something like that?
I think you're right. Am I too early? I could be too early. No, you're right. You're right because Haruyun had to let him adapt to the Brill Thorn.
Right. See. And that's why I say he had an artificial one up till he got to the workshop where he absorbed the real one. Then the artificial one was pretty much just prepping his body for the real one.
Oh my gosh! No, you're right. You're right. Okay. I barely remember even reading that, man. Chapters ago.
Yeah. They're like 2018, 19, something like that.
I think they should have better covered 2018. One thing I know, Tom has been running for over like a decade.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's just how much work has been put in it. But how did you feel about discovering things like the red light district and seeing like some of the family heads? One we're introduced to even in the anime very, very fast, and I don't think they made like it gave him the impact. Again, going back to the animation, gave him the impact that he deserved, much like a Yurik, right? He was just basically like, who's that guy?
Well, I think it's kind of a thing to where we don't truly we're manga readers, but if you're just watching the anime, we don't truly understand how powerful the people we're looking at are. If you had no idea about who they were because you didn't read the manga, you wouldn't know how powerful Yurik really was. You would think you would think he's just a big dog, You wouldn't think that he number 3, number 4 in the tower overall. You wouldn't think that, or you wouldn't think that Gustain is who he is as far as being a family head. If you didn't read the manga, you'd just be like,
yeah,
it's just another guy popping up, a smart looking guy with some gloves and some glasses on that this old dude fears. So it's kind of you gotta look at it in another glass as far as being an anime watcher.
Give me one second.
But I didn't think it was that bad with how Yurik kind of popped up. I actually kind of liked the how he popped up and dropped this baby reference. It's called him Bama Baby. Baby.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting too. I like how I do like how they're doing that, and I feel like a lot of animes do this where it's very.
And then being a raw reader, we kind of got to see he popped up in the anime right around the time when he was popping up in the raws. So kind of got to see like what's going on currently in the manga and where he started at in the anime, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I like the parallels too. I love the parallel that he came out in the raw. He came out relatively quick too in the translated one. I like how they're doing it. There's a lot that they haven't explained yet, but again, if they basically start to unveil some of that like ranking system, some of the power structures and dynamics, and then also increase the animation, bam, it's gonna blow up. I think it's gonna blow up. And that thing right now, they're cooling. They're cooling because there's so much material to adapt. They're gonna be adapting this for years, especially if they take hiatus. So now I think now that they got some, hey, here fan base, you deserve something. So I'm gonna give you these episodes. You get up to the workshop, and then after that, he gets a power up. We're not gonna wait till he gets like 4, 5, 6 more power ups down the line. Hopefully this is the moment. I'm excited. I don't think the animation. I think I've been watching anime long enough to realize that animation is not always going to make or break my decision to watch the anime. Because I've been watching freaking Elusive Samurai, which isn't too bad. But it's good. It's fairly good for what it is. The animation, that's probably a bad example. But MF Ghost, which is an initial DC, the animation is very focused toward like those car scenes and not necessarily like outside, which Initial D essentially did like the same thing. But it's okay in terms of Initial D standard. But what's another anime that did something similar? To me, it's not always going to be about the animation, especially if I like the writing. The writing is always going to take priority for me, at least. I don't know about you guys, but it's always going to take priority for me.
I started watching Sakamoto Days.
Yeah, the one.
Yeah. I started watching Sakamoto Days, man. I like it.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so how'd you like you like Sakamoto Days? What about Donna? And you can give your honest opinion. Honest opinion straight up. I love straight up. If you got
I like Donna. It's kind of how can I put it? It's kind of pervy.
It is very pervy.
It's unhinged. It's unhinged. I love it. I like unhinged.
Yeah.
There's a better word for it, but I'll come back to you guys with the word. I enjoyed Don. It was
yeah, but I liked it, and I thought the season was too short. I didn't like where they ended the season at. I will say that.
I agree with that, but I think what I do like is apparently I think every year they're going to release 12 episodes. So I don't know if it was this series or one series in particular, but it works out perfectly with the pacing and how the story is going. So if they do that, then I can dig that. Or I think they're doing that with Solo Leveling. I think that's what they're doing. They're going to release 12 episodes every year.
I just thought they kind of ended it on a bad point. It wasn't very climactic.
At least let us know
where they ended it at.
Because I agree with that. It was like in the middle of a story. It could be like, the episode before that, they were, getting to the house or whatever. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very short. And I think a lot of animes are doing this. They're doing this because there's a particular reason why they're doing this. I'm just forgetting exactly why they're doing this. But they have to release like the first season. And then depending on how it goes, if they don't have like a proprietary or dedicated studio to work with, then I think it's basically like a rolling system. They have to roll into another studio.
It's like let me just an example. Kaiju number 8, their first season, it ended at a good point.
I agree.
Yeah.
What's the other one? I can't think of the name of it. It's killing me with the samurai guy who goes to the island. Hell's Paradise.
Yeah,
they ended at they ended at a good point.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, Dun just didn't end at a good connective point. But I did like what I got to see. Especially the episode with the dancing demon chick.
I feel like anybody that hated that episode, they gotta be under, like, they gotta be in high school or some shit. Like, you have to be like,
that was a beautiful episode.
To really be impacted by that. I thought it was beautiful too. I really enjoyed it.
Let's go. You said hating on the disco what?
What's that?
You said hating on the disco what?
Hating on the disco. No. I said the episode with the dancing demon that the girl ended up getting that power. I said that was probably the best episode, and it was very beautiful. Really, that's probably my favorite episode as far as the animation, the feels, how they wrote it, everything about it.
Yeah,
probably the best episode.
I feel like a lot of animes are doing this. Even I think like Sakamoto Days, and it feels very like a seasonal release. A lot of animes they're doing the seasonal releases, and they're just remaining seasonal. But yeah, I definitely think they could have pushed out more material to make it more memorable. Because I definitely feel like when season 2 comes rolling around, either they're gonna be rewatched. So maybe that's what they're hoping for. They push out enough episodes to where, fans won't rewatch it yet, but there'll be like a timed rewatch.
To me, just think about I just hate the last episode and how they kind of ended it. I'm sorry, I gotta keep going back to it, but think about even how Tower of God's first season last episode ended. It was perfect because all you could think about was this bitch Rachel.
That's absolutely true. That's why I was excited for the second season. I was like, I thought we were gonna get the climax, and now you just
Yeah,
his
yeah.
pitch, but wow,
You're right.
mega pitch. So,
Yeah, they didn't end it on a bang. They ended it off on like like we survived. There's no looming threat. You know, we have time to build. It's very episodic with
the way they ended it. It was like it'll be another
Dun,
episode the next week.
So Don, they should have done was when Gigi was introduced. That would have been a perfect ending. Bam,
yes,
ended right there.
Yes.
I would have been fine with 11 episodes, and then instead make the season 2 be expanded and have like 15 episodes or something like that. That would have been perfect. Fans would have.
I agree.
So,
yeah, I don't know the requirements behind the contract, but yeah, that I think there's some limitation there for them, but I definitely agree with you on that. You know, I think that this episodic thing and One Punch Man does the same thing, right? One Punch Man
season 2.
It's like very episodic. It's seasonal releases, and people fall off, especially if it's like a shonen anime. People are gonna fall off of this shit. I honestly don't know how to take it. But you know, it is what it is. I guess you're gonna get those seasonal type animes. I think One Punch Man does it the best because they know how to impact and how to capitalize off the moments. Right? It's very interesting to me that they're able to build these animes. Now Kagurabachi, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. The only thing I think, as long as it comes out with like perfect animation, like solid animation on par with like One Punch Man or Dandadan, Sakamoto Days. I don't know. Sakamoto Days, even Sakamoto Days feels a little episodic just based off the animation alone. But as long as it can get those like deep textures and feel less episodic, I feel like Kagurabachi could really make an impact. They slow things down, and I think a lot of shonen fails on this. Kagurabachi could do waves if they just slow things down and focus on the power-ups. Focus on the nuance behind the power-ups. Demon Slayer did this really good, which is why it was a huge success. Not only I don't blame it completely on Ufotable. I also contribute a lot of that toward the character development, the understanding of the power system, breathing systems, and that also correlates to other mythologies and philosophies as well, Japanese philosophy as well. So you can build those nuances under real Japanese philosophies and really building that narrative to where it feels more impactful, even if it's episodic. You spread it out, make sure the animation's good, and you will succeed. One Punch Man, they start off with like goofy episodes where basically this dude was like dreaming and playing video games, and the only thing that they really did in like the first episode is they showed what he was like before he got his powers, or whenever he was around the time he got affected, and all these like crazy character designs. But aside from the crazy character designs in the animation, the guy he one punched a guy, and that was the only crazy scene in that one episode. I remember the very first episode, and he basically played video games and like walked around town, and it was like goofy, and it was funny, it was hilarious, and that right there really set a tone for the coming chapters in who One Punch Man was. I think the first episode is really supposed to make that difference, and of course animation plays some part in that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, there's so many different types of animes that are doing their thing. You got Alice in Wonderland that are making an anime coming out. So it's supposed to be coming out in 2025, which I'm excited for. It looked pretty solid, and as long as they go the route that I think they're gonna go, where the art style is a lot more like sort of like that retro look, sort of like a midway between like season 1 Tower of God and also like what's another anime that I can't think of right now, like Tower of God and like Heavenly Delusion, right? Which I thought was phenomenal. Heavenly Delusion doesn't get enough credit. A lot more people need to watch it. And what a lot of people like to do is they like to compare it to like Promised Neverland, which there's some disagreements there because people didn't think that because it didn't necessarily adapt everything in the last parts of the manga. It basically changed up like one or two things, right? But people were like extremely frustrated. They went crazy. But the animation is good. The way that it flows is very natural. It feels natural. It looks great. It feels great. The voice acting is amazing. They did it really well. And I think one thing that Heavenly Delusion does really well is it does a lot of the same things. It really makes you feel for the characters, and for a shonen, that is huge. I didn't get a lot of that in Dandadan, I didn't really get a feel for the characters. Now running from like that crazy granny was hilarious and a little scary at some points of times, but
That's what I said. The only one I really got a feel for was that dancing demon. Like that one hit me in the feels when they did that. The ballerina chick.
Yeah,
like that was the best one. I think that did a really good job at that, but everyone else kind of not so much. I feel like for the MC Okarun, I think that they're slowly kind of bringing him along.
I will say this.
Well,
I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
That is a perfect example of when an anime like it executes a scene and makes it impactful. Like I'm pretty sure if you read the manga, I don't know if any of you guys read the Dandadan manga. I didn't read it either, but I would assume the scenes for that particular scene with the dancing chick, it wasn't as impactful as they made it in the anime. Like another example, when Kurama died in the Boruto manga, I was like, damn. Shit, he died. But when when I saw it in the anime, like I was like, oh shit, like it actually, because mind you, I've already read it and I know what happens, but like it still hit me, it hit me much harder than it did in the manga. So the anime did a well job executing that. But that's what I'm saying with the Tower God. I just did not feel that with the moments where it was supposed to be impactful, I just did not feel it didn't hit me as it should have. It's just even moments that's not supposed to be like a hit in the feels moment, a moment that's supposed to be like, oh shoot, or like, oh dang, that's an action moment, or oh that's a funny moment, oh I got a surprise. I wasn't nothing. Everything just happened. Everything was just animated. It just happened. I don't want to say it was a slideshow PowerPoint animation. That was more or less Blue Lock's first few episodes, but like this was different. Like, this was more like
little jab at Blue Lock.
Blue Lock. Hey, I got a confession to make.
Yeah, go for it.
I recently just fully watched Death Note all the way through for the first time.
Hey, you have to play. Yeah, you did.
I do confess.
Hey, I gotta
feel about it.
Man, I was locked in. Like the manipulation, the tactics, the mind games that were being played, the feeling that you were led down, like you were intended to care about some stuff, and then in the end it was like no fucks given. Masterclass. That's all I can say. Masterclass.
Absolutely.
Death Note.
Absolutely. Death Note is one of my favorites. Another anime by the same creators, Death Note, that you're going to want to watch. Now, if you can get over it doesn't blend 3D and 2D animation very well. Sometimes I think the 3D is a little off, but if you can get past the animation, sometimes it looks really good, but it also has like a retro feel. I think it came out in like 2019 or 2020. It's by the same creator as Death Note. It's called Platinum End. It'll do one or two things. It'll either piss you off once you finish watching all 30 episodes, or it'll really get you thinking. 30 episodes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's 34 episodes, something like that. It's like a one-off, and I told Sai Sensei to watch it as well. I think he's kind of scared.
Honestly, no, I completely forgot, bro. I'm literally writing this down in my notes as we speak,
bro.
Like I'm about to.
No, you guys for sure. Yeah, no, you definitely hands down. Watch that. I put it up. I think the writing is still good. Any writing that can basically walk me through a story and give me the opportunity to think for myself as to what the ending means, I think is genius. And as the creator of Death Note is already notorious for assisting with so many different projects, publicly known, like Bakuman and Haru no Go. There's the guy is legendary. But Platinum End, as one of his projects, 34 episodes. That's a weekend. And I think that really gives you an idea as to like the range that anime can go down. Because it's not an anime that any kid is just going to want to pick up and watch. Especially, you watched, I think we watched Sunny Boy at one point in time, which I still got to rewatch Sunny Boy, or Sony Boy rather, Sony Boy. Which is another weird, like I love like weird type animes like freaking Paprika, which was a movie, but I had to watch it twice just to understand the meaning of it. Akira, if I got my Akira background, you can't see it because I got Elden Ring in the back, but I got like my Akira poster. Akira is one of my all-time favorite animes of all time. I cite up there with like Yu Yu Hakusho. It's up there. So yeah, man. It's a good time. It's a good time to I think to watch animes. Like any other animes you guys watch as of lately?
I started watching one. I ain't got that deep into it. I think it was called like Devil Man Cry or something like that.
Oh, okay.
It's all right. It's all right so far.
Yeah,
I ain't got that deep into it.
Yeah, it's all right. It's not that bad. I got like a whole recommendation list in the freaking, and I know y'all be like not going through this. It's in the suggestions box. You just click through and go to like anime recommendations. Just scroll through that shit.
I'm so shitty at using Discord.
Basically, say again.
I was saying I'm very shitty at using Discord. I just don't use it unless I have a scheduled meeting or something. But I'm expecting a text.
I'm just waiting for so much stuff to come back. Like I'm waiting for Boruto anime to come back. I'm waiting on Black Clover to come back.
I mean, after Bleach 4, Boruto is gonna come back. I'm sure.
I'm waiting on Black Clover to come back.
When Black Clover comes back, it's gonna be ending because it's already and is like so releasing like a chapter every 3 months now.
They need to do this.
I think they can go back I think they can go back and completely redo the anime and just give it the love that it deserves. Like
each year,
Black Clover, it was epic. Like even with the bad animation, it was epic.
I like Black Clover is dope. It was up there. I didn't see a single bad episode in my opinion. And
I don't think it should end. To be honest, I think Black Clover can keep running just based upon the power system that it has. They just have to figure out how to keep it going.
I would restart Boruto from the beginning. I would like redo the fights, like the main fights, maybe like reanimate them. But I would definitely restart Boruto.
I hate that Boruto stopped releasing just because the world building that you get with some of the anime only stuff was perfect. It helped build up a lot of the stuff that we didn't get to see in the manga. And it was perfect for it. I know a lot of people didn't like it. They call it filler and stuff like that, but it was just world building. That's all it was. All of it was canon. It was just world building, and I think that's perfect for filling out the spaces that we can't get with the monthly manga.
In my opinion, the only anime canon that I believe was good, the arcs, starting from the deeper arc. For example, the one with the time slip arc, they could have done that better. Like they could have made
They could have done that better.
Sasuke's moment, just like how Ishiki was, Naruto's moment. They could have made that Sasuke's moment. They could have done something well with him because he was full powered in that moment. They could have done something cool. They could have done. They could have done a better job. I don't know why. I don't know. If so many of us watchers and viewers can come up with many better writing ideas. It's I don't know. There's no excuse for that shit. So
I think it's a lot of it that gets thrown to them quickly, and I think Kishimoto did play a part in that. So I think they should have took more time to develop some of that. You're right. You're absolutely right. I think they could have did that better, but I think they just ended up trying to rush the product because they were trying to make it weekly, in which I think they could have took time off to come back. Like take a month off. Do how One Piece was doing. Take a month off while you creating this new art and come back to us after you got it done. Or take 2 months off while you creating it. But I don't think they had to completely stop. I think they could have came up with some of these anime only type arcs to fill out the story and gave us more.
The deeper arc was great.
I liked it. The deeper art was
one of my favorites. That was one of my favorites. That arc. What else? The arc with the tuning exams, the second one where Zardo's promoted to Chunin. I actually loved that arc. It was short, but it was good. I like the fights. Some of the fights were but like for example, the fight with the Kakashi-san Hoki or whatever, like that fight was dope. I like that one.
I like the Boruto and Sasuke arc where they had to deal with that other card member.
Which girl.
The girl who had she was manipulating like their mind while they were in like the machines and stuff.
Oh, I didn't see that arc.
It was towards the end. It was
right after the boat arc, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know which arc you're talking about. But
it was pretty good. Like they came up with some good arcs later on, but I just feel like all of this is just extra lore to the story that is outside of the main story that we're getting. I think the main story that we're getting is fine, but I think all the extra stuff that we're getting as a part of the anime, I think it only helped for us keeping the Boruto series relevant. And now that we aren't getting that anymore, all we're getting is our monthly releases. Boruto is less relevant.
So one thing
even though people used to complain all the time about it, but people gonna complain. Go ahead.
I'm not. You guys know my thoughts on the whole animation thing. Personally, I think it's a little too late. I think they could have got away with starting off. I was just talking about this the other day with someone else. Having those B, having like consistency and like having like B and A and S plus level episodes in terms of like the animation, the storytelling, everything, and having like just the overall having those overall scores. And I think generally speaking, pretty much like part one Boruto, I think it had basically a lot of C's. It was like filled with C's. And it probably had like, I think the majority of C's, maybe there's like 2 F's. I'm gonna give 2 F's because we saw them like still frames of like Boruto basically run in, not even like using his legs. We got those episodes, right? Then we also got some like I'm gonna give it A. We got some A pluses, right? But I don't recall ever really seeing an S episode, which is like overall writing and development and animation that really like. I feel like
most of your manga
episodic as opposed to.
Wait,
most
were you
of your
speaking in
manga.
general, Zone?
I was going to say
S
most of
tier?
your manga episodes are A to S tier.
Wait, which are you still referring to? Boruto, Zone?
Yeah, I was referring.
Yeah, bro. The Boruto versus Naruto, the Boruto and the Naruto and Sasuke versus Momoshiki. That's probably one of the best fights in all of Shonen. Like,
Yeah,
that's easily S tier. Like,
You said who versus Momoshiki?
Naruto and Sasuke versus Momoshiki. The remake, that fight is
But
easily like.
does that really count as Boruto though? Or
I mean the
Yeah,
Ishiki
I don't
episode.
really- I don't personally-
Kawaki versus Goro. That's one of the best hand-to-hand fights.
Yeah,
I'll
the
put the S in
Ishiki
my
episodes were even goated as far as like S tier type.
so I'll count Kawaki versus Garo. All right.
And then
I-
Kawaki versus Boruto. I think
And
that's
You don't think Naruto versus Ishiki episode was good?
I
Zone?
thought it was good, but not as good as those.
so,
Yeah, it was. I agree. But they were up there.
And that's why I think it can be used a remake, like Delta versus Naruto.
I thought it was good.
Kashin Koji versus Ishiki, that could definitely do a remake. I hated that. That fight was horrible. Like I was like, so disappointed in that fight because it was just like
I would say that. Yeah, I understand this disappointment. I personally don't even like. I don't even see those as Boruto episodes. Every time I see Naruto in a fight, the only reason why I'm seeing, I feel like I'm seeing, is to
Boruto versus Team 7.
that was nice. It was decent. It was done well.
You said Boruto versus Team 7?
Yeah.
That one was good, but I'm gonna give it an A plus.
Yeah, that's
I'll give it an A.
B.
Yeah.
I'll give it A or B. Right. Again, there wasn't no like S tier episodes. Bor I don't want to get like copyright, but
I would put the Ishiki versus Naruto. That is an S tier fight in my opinion.
Yes, that's an S tier fight.
But in all of Boruto, there's probably about 10 S tier episodes. Of the 293 episodes, there's probably about like 10.
I think Borushiki versus Code could have been done better.
I agree. All that sound effects.
To me, it was B tier, but it should have been S tier.
Yeah, you guys are giving away too much credit, honestly. I feel like once like the S tier episodes is like Kawaki versus Boruto at the end. Those are like the S tier episodes.
Now, see, that's not even S tier to me. Like that's B plus, but A minus tier to me. Like S tier to me would be Naruto, Ishiki.
Looking at the anime. I mean, we're not just looking at like the fight, right? We're looking at the animation, the choreography, the storytelling. Everything is being considered in that. And I just don't know if I would equate those crazy animation to the obvious lack of work with this fight, where you've got sometimes in this Boro fight, Boruto is just like floating up towards Boro. Of course, he's like flying, but like sometimes, like when he's jumping back, he's not like reacting back. It's like he bounced off and is like now in space. Type of shots, which aren't bad. It just makes it look like it's slow motion, right?
But wouldn't that be slow motion to somebody that's way stronger than the person he's fighting?
Yeah, but again,
if we keep it in context, I think you can balance it out.
Because we're also getting, again, we're not only getting we're getting like speed lines. Maybe not in this fight, but when you can't tell, like when you can't properly implement speed lines and then properly also implement like slow motion scenes, technically, like Boruto's perception at this point should still be fast. He's still an Uzumaki. We don't know Boro's background other than the fact that we know that he is a motto creation, you know, we don't know certain things, and I think that's a lot. That's where a lot of the argument for me goes out the window, or a lot of people goes out the window for me, rather, because there's still a lot unsaid about how these creations are even capable of being as strong as they are, as opposed to them just being mysteriously created with potentially Otsutsuki DNA. You know, all this stuff is like it's very vague. Is a lot of non-confirmation.
I can answer that for you.
Answer what?
Amato.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't know what I asked. What do you mean? What do you want to clarify?
You want to know like how you can explain it away as far as how they got to the power that they're supposed to have, and without saying that it's Otsutsuki DNA. Amato, period. It's how all of them got where they got Amato.
Yeah, but you can't just say like Amato. We can't take that.
Once he's revealed as our main antagonist, it'll all make sense. Like where you looking at it from a forward view. Imagine at the end he's revealed as like this main antagonist that's kind of just been experimenting all along and plotting it out, and it's all led us up to the point that we'll eventually be at. You know, then you'll look back and be like, oh, okay. So when he made Boro, he was trying to do this. When he made Deepa, he was trying to do this. When he created that brain chick, he was trying to do that. When he made the Garo guy, he was trying to do this. It all kind of makes sense later. I think we're just looking at it from a short-term view right now.
Well, right now, I think, and my fault is, and you know, I could be including bias here from the Naruto franchise. In my opinion, I'm comparing him to his level of mysteriousness to like Orochimaru, which I feel like Orochimaru did a far more, they did a far more better job with making, not only giving Orochimaru character, but also giving him the development and giving him the mysteriousness.
Orochimaru was always pure with his intent. He never hid his intentions. His intentions were laid out, and he was pure with it. Amato's intentions are hidden, and he masks them behind other moves and techniques, which gives me more of he's the bit bad more than anything. Orochimaru was just out there with it. He wasn't trying to hide it or mask it. That's how he truly felt about the experiments that he was conducting.
They're quite opposites if you think about it. So, and if you appreciate that in both of them, they're both appreciable in their, you know, respective ways, arguably in the same level. Like I think Amato is a great villain or a great antagonist. I can't say villain because we're not 100% sure at this point, but he's definitely an antagonist due to how much information he's revealing and how he's just, you know, simply trying to cover himself and for his own personal goals. But yeah, I think overall, but setting the story aside, Boruto itself has a lot of great S tier episodes, and I can argue the same thing with JJK. JJK season 2, like damn near the whole season is S tier, like in my opinion. Like,
I think you're including a lot of bias there. I feel like there's a lot of bias there that's not necessarily being
bias in what?
Because I feel like that's not objectively correct.
Wait, what are you saying is not objectively correct?
I mean, I feel like you're saying they're S tier because you like those episodes, as opposed to
because of the animation. Like you can argue, like if you look up the most popular episode of Boruto, you can argue like it's Naruto's like Sasuke versus Momoshiki.
Oh, we would have to debate about that because the ratings aren't just like, you know, this is S tier, that's S, that's A, that's B. It's generally just trying to count on a list how many
I mean, you could run a poll and let it run for a week or a month and see what you get back far as the best episodes. Like you just go and put out, okay, which ones?
You know what? You can't say episode. We have to say fight. because
Fight,
it's not
fight,
like
fight.
that's
You're
the
right. You're right. You're right. Fight.
because we're talking episodes and ratings and stuff, and being technical, like Attack on Titan, even Solo Leveling right now, they have episodes that are like up there. Like you can't.
Well,
So
I mean, I feel like again, when I speak anime, I'm not speaking from the lens of like one anime, right? I'm including all anime, and I feel like I'd be doing ill justice by giving Boruto a higher rank than it deserves for certain episodes, and by giving it the best, the most accurate ratings, I felt leaves room for growth, right? Which is, I think, overall most important. Again, I'm not rating just the fights. I'm rating from the time the episode started, from the time the episode ended, and that's how we're getting like maybe. Again, and the animation isn't always going to be a deciding factor in terms of whether it's an A or an S for me. Again, if it's a very depending on how they flesh things out, again, and they sprinkle in some solid animation in there. It's very difficult because I think Kishimoto has a way of creating more questions than answers at the end of every episode, which makes it feel that a little bit episodic in that sense. And others agree. Others do agree, and I see why. They have these conversations on X, and I
got a 15 best Boruto fights ranked by CBR here.
Drop them in the chat if you can, and now and then you could announce the link.
Just tell us the top
video. I want to.
What's that? What y'all want me to do?
Yeah, just tell us the top 3 verbally. You can drop the article in the chat for sure, but yeah.
Okay,
verbally.
I'm looking at my phone. I have to drop it on. Okay.
Also,
to me, like when I'm thinking of a fight, I mean, when it comes to animation, I'm thinking of just fight. Like I'm not thinking of the story. There's a story that's a completely different topic, and when it becomes subjective because based on the type of story, because you can have an animated episode that's not even an action, and but still be rated a 10. You know what I mean? Because of how impactful all the scenes are within the anime. I can't think of an anime off the top of my head. Maybe Vinland Saga season 2. There's a lot less action heavy in season 2, but it's a lot of impactful scenes in anime. But I'm strictly talking about just straight up hand-to-hand combat and choreography and action. Strictly like action. Boruto, the Momoshiki versus the Naruto and Sasuke versus Momoshiki. That's probably the best hand-to-hand combat fight I've seen. That fight,
okay, so
AJK probably has some episodes that's up there, maybe, but I don't know.
So okay, so number three would be Naruto Burying Mode versus Ishiki.
Okay, so for me, I would typically discount that one because I feel like there's very little. The only purpose Naruto is there for is for character development, and not only really just to further the plot. He's more of like a plot device than as opposed to character development.
Not really. That was the fight. That was the fight which Naruto was debuffed in to give Boruto the lead seat.
I'm looking at this list right now. This list is horrible.
Yes, it's bad.
Number 1 and number 2 is number 1 and number 2. Those aren't even fights. Those are like scenes.
How's he debuffed?
Who, Naruto?
Oh, you're talking about Kurama.
Burying Mode basically debuffed Naruto.
Nerfed him. Yeah.
Okay, so this is really talking about Boruto himself. That's why. Boruto himself, his best fight, I guess. And they're saying
no, because in some of them, it ain't really just talking about him. It's talking about Sarada early on in some fights too. So it's just the fights in Boruto which they're talking about.
Yeah, I'm on they don't have the moment screen rant right now. And they're saying this number one fight is Boruto versus Code. That's Boruto's greatest fight yet. But that's so false. It's not. Boruto himself. The moment that's his greatest fight, but not in the Boruto series. No, that's not the greatest fight in the Boruto series.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I feel like they're not utilizing it feels like Boruto isn't in the same world as Naruto. And I get there are new factors attributed to that, but I feel like they should find a little bit a better way to expand the world. Go into the Cloud Village and really expand what it looks
I
like
agree
and
100%.
how
But that was to
um
me, that was what
the
the anime was doing. Like the anime was supposed to be doing some of that because we're following a different storyline within the manga. Felt like the anime was supposed to be giving us those extra type of episodes and highlights that we wouldn't get through the storyline we following in the manga. Because we only get 12 chapters a year. That's it. Sometimes we get 11 depending on if they take a break month.
yeah.
So there's only so much content we can get.
I think
Anime is supposed to be fulfilling storylines on the side that we wouldn't naturally get. And that's where I felt like it never should have stopped. Like, yeah, they can take breaks to come back and develop material and stuff like that, but we should still be getting kind of anime only,
Like before
relevant
each arc,
plot.
take a month break.
yeah, they are
Yeah,
really
That would be perfect to develop the story, a perfect story
take
that's
take
worth
2
animating.
months if you need to, but
Take as long as needed until like everyone like grab like 15 to 25 random people that are Boruto fans and ask them, what do you think of this story? And then if they say, oh, this is dope as shit, that's it, that's your story, because like
but that's where you develop in like this 3 month, this 3 year time skip gap that we had in the manga. There's so much content to be created there.
yeah, that's why I'm all for them slowing things down. I'd rather get them take, because they said this the time skip is supposed to be like 30 volumes. I mean, Boruto's supposed to be 30 volumes, and we're like, I think 20 volumes in or whatever. So I'd much rather them expand it and him take his time than each chapter be slow and then fleshed out. Bro, I want them to visit the Cloud Village, like Zone said. I want them to visit other villages, even obscure villages that are, doing a lot of the illegal laundering shit, like where Kawaki is found. Visit that shit. Visit the technological side, how much it advanced in other countries and villages. Yeah, you just there's many things they can
right.
tap into that. I don't mind if Ikimoto takes his time and writes it slow. It's just we as the audience, we have to be very patient with the anime, because that gives them more stuff to actually animate when that time comes, when they're ready. So that's why I think
Right.
they should just redo everything, make Boruto season on start from the beginning. That way, it would give them ample time to catch up. So like each season, they can actually
But I don't want this. I don't want only manga content because it shortens what we're gonna get in the end. You need this type of world building from the anime only content.
So they can go back and flesh out the anime only stuff and make the stories even better. Like
we need
for example,
better. We need better Chocho arcs.
I mean, honestly, yeah, if it makes the character more likable and shit,
I
And
see.
Sasuke, they need to give Sasuke a nice redeeming moment pre-time skip. Like, I don't know if you guys seen him with that the compressed Susanoo. Like they can actually make that a canon event. Like, hey,
Yeah,
this is
Sasuke
a
hasn't come back for a long, long time though.
Nah,
Sasuke doesn't come back for a long time. Naruto doesn't come back for a long time. What they need to do, and I agree, I understand what FBK is trying to say, or FBK was saying, is essentially what the Naruto franchise has notoriously done over years is basically whatever they don't cover in the manga, they cover in the anime. I think that is wrong. That is incorrect. Not the go. They have, of course, those opportunities to do that, but again, the more they cover in the manga, the more nuance they could cover in the anime, which I think gives a more filling experience. Makes it feel less episodic. Yes, I do. In prior, post, or pre, freaking Tubular Vortex, I predicted Code would attack, right? And of course, he was gearing up. I think it was pretty obvious because he was gearing up with the Claw Grimes. and I was predicting somewhere in the time skip he would attack. I did not, however, foresee him attacking post time skip. But I want to see if he did other damage, or how maybe he played a role in impacting how the development of certain societies or other villages have developed, right? How their social societal life is, um, whether they're on like high alert all the time now, like maximum security, or if they're still in like, chilling, and don't even realize what's going on, that they're being attacked. I want to see stuff like that. That way, I
It's like
understand this is a
right now,
bigger
though,
world that is being affected. It's not just a Boruto.
right now. If it wasn't for the anime, would you feel the same way about Shinky right now as we're getting him in the manga?
I understand that Shinky is now one of the Sinju, right?
Right, but would you feel the same way? Because we haven't seen him in the manga before now.
I feel like Shinky has always been badass. He's one of my favorite characters.
But how was he badass if you didn't know who he was without the anime only content?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
That's what the anime did for us.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, of course, in the anime, but that's Gaara's son. That's huge. Gaara,
but you wouldn't know that without the anime.
That's true.
We wouldn't have got that. We wouldn't have got that until right now in the manga.
That
was Gaara's son. We wouldn't know anything about him. We would have no kind of tie back to the Chunin exam or anything without the anime and what they did, and that's what I think it's good for.
That's
good
true.
for.
I mean, I don't know.
That level of creation. We would have no ties to him. Nobody would know who Shinky is. He'd just be this guy that's supposedly Gaara's son that popped up out of the blue.
Yeah, but I feel like that's more
in the anime. He had a whole arc with Boruto where they fought against Urashiki together.
And that arc felt a little lackluster. I'm not gonna lie.
It did, but it matters now because that's where they built a relationship.
It would have solidified it had Shiki been inputted into the manhwa. The manga. It would have been like, okay, that is a character that will remain with us. He's an important character, and I think in a way they're sort of trying to get away with the whole like Itachi incident where he died of natural causes, but we had like fans killing themselves. I think they're trying to get away from that because I don't understand if there's some type of legal ramifications in that regard. I think they're intentionally trying to get away with that, and I think this is their avenue. They basically get their mangas approved, and I just don't understand this approach of a monthly manga. I mean, of course, maybe they have a smaller team, but also adapting things that weren't adapted. Like Shiki is one of those things that should have been. He's a character, like an important character that carries real significance to the main protagonist. He should have been in the manga.
But it's hard with everything.
That's
the manga. It's hard just because the time frame that we got to work with.
In part one, though, we got I feel like we got people in part one that I don't even remember. That carried zero value. Freaking what's the bug guy? The bug guy from Naruto called
Bug.
Yeah, but what's his name? Bug Sensei.
Oh, yeah. What about him? We got him in the manga.
I'm not forgetting his name.
I can't think of his name either, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, Shino. Like where the heck is Shino at? He was in the manga.
He's in the anime a lot though. He's their teacher.
Yeah, but he basically does like nothing. He didn't teach anything important as a character. Um, he didn't do anything significant, and that's he's from Naruto. At the very least,
I
they
think
could.
is that the manga had to focus on the main storyline, and that's why I say the anime is very important to what this series is trying to do, and that they should never have stopped it. They should never have stopped the anime. It's very important to what they're trying to do with this series.
They
It
carry
tells a
they
lot of the side stories, like even the Konohamaru love arc that they did. It's very important to telling other character stories.
They did do a Konohamaru love arc. I don't even.
Even if it's cheesy or you know, a lot of people don't like it, it's helping to fill out some of these other characters that we wouldn't normally think of. Like Mirai, we haven't got Mirai in the in the manga.
Right. Yeah, I was
But
like,
we got her in the anime.
yeah,
We
but
need the anime for Boruto. We need it.
and I think that's a very wrong way to go about it. I just don't like the approach. It feels a little cheap. I
But
feel
they're
like the
not a
anime
part of.
shouldn't have to carry the written adaptation.
But with the monthly release, it's only so much they can do for as far as the main storyline. We got a main storyline, then we got a bunch of side arcs about the side characters that we can tell.
No, yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I definitely think that they should come back with the anime. I think that they ended it where they should have, because I think there were a lot of complaints. However, the last few episodes were solid. In terms, I give them an S in Naruto Boruto standards. But no, I think that they're whatever they're doing. I think they got to do something big, and they've got to do it sometime. Hopefully this year. I'm not gonna put a time crunch on it, but I do know when they do come back, they got to come back with some heat. They got to come back with the thunder, for sure. But
Yeah.
in other news, I actually posted I posted some games, not games. I posted some anime in the chat. I posted Karazuka, which these are all like short term animes. I think the longest one amongst these are going to be like, I don't know, Platinum End, which is like 34 episodes, and then posted Inuyashiki, which is maybe 2 seasons. These are all like horror animes that I really like. Most of these are like horrors. Kurizuka is like a vampire anime, but it's like 13 episodes. And then Gundam: The Witch from Mercury, if you want to get into like Gundam, that's probably a good modern one. I think Gundam: The Witch from Mercury came out in like 2021, 22. Maybe 22. I'll say 22. It was 3 seasons, so maybe 21. But it's a very solid Gundam franchise. I think if you can get past the fact that there's like 2 teenage girls that have inappropriate relationships, I don't know what it is. It's a Japan thing. It's a Japan thing, man. The storyline is pretty solid. You know, you got your typical protagonist. You got the storyline. It'll really show you like how, even the prologue. I think the prologue really sets the tone for the remainder of the episodes. A lot of is blood and gore, and it's amazing. It really sort of gives a nod to the anime that came out in like the 90s, early 2000s. But Gundam: The Witch from Mercury actually includes AI. Not that I'm bringing that up. Where with AI being as big as it is, and as being as controversial as it is, freaking people were concerned. People were concerned apparently You know, they're fearful of their careers. They're fearful of their you know, their pieces of art, their artwork being
Corrupted.
basically corrupted. Yeah, being inauthentic and being something that is um, programmable, right? And there's sort of like a divide there where people aren't necessarily sure which approach to sort of take on this. I feel like me and Breezy Sai have had this conversation somewhat, but I don't think we fully dive into just like, especially now where you've got artists like Lupe Fiasco who basically came out. Um,
Lou.
yeah, Lupe Fiasco has been somewhat of an advocate of AI in recent times, and I think there was a little bit of controversy, especially in the last few weeks, with Lupe Fiasco, and pop culture and hip hop culture, because he's advocated for certain rappers to and artists to use AI within their creating process. I think this also stems back from like the whole Drake incident where he used Tupac as an AI.
I didn't
Um,
like that.
he used Tupac, basically a deep fake of but but I think in that aspect, you know, there's some sway. It could be used respectfully, disrespectfully. In this sense, it was used disrespectfully and not necessarily approved, right? However, you know, I think that really sort of is an indicator that here are the lines that we can draw. We can ensure that the use of it is ethical, right? That the use of AI is ethical, and we can advocate for that. We can educate ourselves on the use of that. Um, and we're no strangers to AI, even on this channel on the pod. So I think that in regards to yeah, I think that's something that I think that we'll have to begin to work with, even as artists and content creators. Is This is my personal opinion. However, I think there has to, you know, I don't think that I think this will really separate the um the people that really are good at what they do, as opposed to AI, which is also good at what it does. But it's not going to basically replace the subject matter as experts in that field. Now, it may, of course, replace low wage workers, people on minimum wage. All those things are just a factor. It's going to happen. I think it's best for us to find a way how to maximize on this opportunity, how to rather capitalize on this opportunity, and find a way to utilize AI, or AI tools in that aspect, because it's not just AI in a sense. It's not just a thing, right? It's not robotics. There are AI components within robotics, but AI is not robotics. And AI isn't this sentient thing, right? AI is simply function methods, right? Being used in a structure or manner, right? Potentially embedded within databases and giving and creating tools, right? Which we use tools like stuff like that, um, which creates AI art. I actually have a video that's coming out in a few short weeks. I'm going to talk a little bit about AI just to sort of educate you guys on the topic. I know you guys will be seeing, for some of you guys, this video isn't quite live. We are, but we will be sort of dropping this in. Hopefully, this video, the snippet comes out before that video releases. But it'll probably be around the same time. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the FBK and RSI in terms of the whole AI thing?
I just think it got to be utilized the correct way, as far as it needs to be utilized as a tool, but not to necessarily take over the human creativity and what's being delivered as a final um as a final draft. Pretty much, like you can utilize it as a tool to gather your ideas, gather your thoughts, and that type of thing. But I don't think it should be used as a final product of art or a final product of music or the final product of what you deliver. I think that needs to continue to have the human touch, but AI can be used to help you create what you want to create, as far as that goes. But as far as like, if you're a musician, it can be used to help you get your lyrics or make your song. Well, but it should be you that's making your song. It shouldn't be the AI that's actually delivering the lyrics and the cadence and the tones and all of that.
I'll be honest.
If you are an artist, it can help you come up with what you're exactly trying to draw and how you want it to be laid out. But ultimately, it should be your stroke of the brush and the way that you draw the picture, not the AI.
So I'll be honest with you. I'm the exact opposite. To me, it's the end product and end result that matters. Whatever is done to get that result. So if you're working with the client, the client's not going to care like if you're an artistic person or not. They're going to care about like the end product and if it's what they want and if it meets their satisfaction. Like they're not going to care how it was gotten or how it was achieved. Same with like a record label too. They're not going to care about how if you work 30 hours in the studio just for this one song. They're not going to care. What they want is the end product to be good and listenable. So in my opinion, as long as it's utilized correctly to make the end product as good and as its best final version as possible, whether the end product is used fully with AI or used with a combination of AI, or if AI was utilized to help influence the end product, and the end product is authentic and made by the artist itself. As long as it's whatever gets the end product to whatever is the goal, whoever is user's satisfaction, whether it be a listener, a viewer, et cetera, et cetera. So I think AI. I don't think it's going to take over. I think people are just over exaggerating. It's going to take over some jobs, but it's going to create new jobs. As it takes over old jobs, it's going to create new jobs and make a lot of new current jobs easier and make things a lot faster. So, I think that's what people need to focus on and capitalize on, and it'll make things even such as learning faster and easier because everybody has different ways of learning, and you can express that to certain AI, like ChatGPT, whatever. You can have it work around your way of thinking, and if you once you understand what it's capable of and what it can do and work around that, I think the benefits far outweigh and exceed the cons that people are saying. And when you see the cons and hear the cons, it's usually the same thing. Oh, it's going to take over our jobs. Oh, it's not a thing. It's just not the real thing. Or it's but it's, in my opinion, it's it's whatever gets the end result as best as possible. And yeah.
That's an interesting opinion there. I think in regards to AI, I think it's very important that we sort of understand where it is currently and how fast its development is. You're right. Try to weigh in on what are the contributing factors toward its rapid growth and development. The amount of its economic gravitation, right? And also the amount of current regulation that is governing certain AI tools and methods, right? The use of AI, the ethical precautions surrounding the use of AI. And initially there wasn't, which is why there's just a lot of legal space that's not governing how the use of it is determined. But you have companies coming out with proprietary procedures under their copyright guidelines and they're able to do this as private companies, whether it's private or public companies, they're able to do this under their guidelines, until there is regulation stating that they can model off of, and that's generally how that echo chamber falls. In regards to like ChatGPT and its large language model processing, that's largely based off of free and available gathered data that's out there and public and coming from credible sources generally. Again, you can create a custom clone of certain softwares and tools, and you can figure out how you could put them together yourself if you want to go down that route. Take that risk. However, in regards to like AI art, I think you run into like trademark ramifications, guidelines, and copyright guidelines and ramifications. Those are some things that are going to be challenges for modern day people as as development continues within the government echo chambers. Right, that as development continues, those are some guidelines that will be regulated as the concerns grow. Right, people are worried about certain voices being used and deep fakes being used. A lot of that was available, and it was like that when the internet came out. Right, there was a lot of websites that were public that should not have been public. Right, parts of the internet that just weren't supposed to be available, until they started putting together those regulations under internet guidelines. But yeah, that's largely largely wide. Now, art I think is one thing, and I think you will run into like copyright issues. Now I think the certain regulations emphasize that. I think something along the lines of what EPK said is you basically can't just utilize AI art without altering it. And I could be wrong. It could have been Sai, it could have been EPK. I feel like either one of you guys said it. Basically, you have to figure out a way to alter it so it's just not a straight spit out of AI art. And in that sense, it's altered. It becomes your art.
It has to have the human touch in the end.
Right. It has to have a human touch, and I would arguably say it'd be a little bit difficult to track that. Well, if you're able to sort of engineer the its presence within like audio, right? Audio, and you can do that. You can do that with pictures. You basically can just open up the pictures file and read its code, right? It'll tell you it's a this tool, because the people who created these tools, they want credit. They want the credit. They don't want to be held liable for copying people's art. So whenever you spit out certain art, it'll have some type of stamp on it, or it'll have some type of embedded code within it that suggests that art or that piece of AI tooling came from this particular AI tool. And so removing that may be a guideline. It may also be a readable, like, hey, this is how to distinguish AI art and non-AI art is unembedded code, right? And again, for audio, it'd be, whether or not you can take that file, it'd still be a file, slap it on the computer and see whether or not there's any AI embedded code within that. So it's all very simple stuff. However, there's always gonna be bad actors, right? I think that the best way to sort of do something is to not try to hide it, but to just follow the guidelines. It's gonna always be my best advice: is follow the guidelines that are already out there, publicly available, and that's generally the best we can do. And it is just that's gonna be law. You know what I mean? But yeah, I thought it was very interesting that AI is just now surfacing with things like hip hop and rap culture. And people are fearful. Rappers are fearful that you now have like artists like Lupe Fiasco, who has been working with MIT, helping MIT basically understand, help their language processing tools in AI develop some of the intricacies of art, of hip hop art, right? And they're using that to basically increase the understanding of linguistics, or um, how we formulate sentences and certain phrases and in certain languages and codes. People in Louisiana who can't understand people in Washington, right? Who's and vice versa. Just try to understand the language barriers, and you got artists like Lupe Fiasco really making a difference as the talented artist that he is, and he's come out and he's publicly said, "Yeah, this is pretty much the way." Now, what he's not trying to do is make it to where rappers are no longer able to. Of course, you're going to have the rappers that aren't. AI is not going to be able to fully keep up with those god level artists, right? That are able to, you know, rap in such a way that is very difficult to understand what is being said there. However, in my opinion, it's a little bit scary. It's a little bit scary when you got people like Lupe Fiasco helping MIT help these large language models, um, or language processing nodes rather, um, understand how we communicate as humans. Of course, they're going to always, the more questions we ask ChatGPT and Galactic and all these language models, the more they take in and they take in that knowledge and they recycle it, they reuse it, and they learn from it, they adapt from that. That is without being sentient. That is without that is without quantum computing. Now, slapping some quantum computing in there, I don't know. I don't know. It's very interesting. It's very questionable, but I think there's a lot of concern surrounding it. It's very valid because for me, as someone that is knowledgeable of IT things, um, I see that there's a lot of potential for a lot of blue collar workers being replaced. That is a given. Um, White collar workers are going to have it for a little bit. However, you know, as people fall behind, as people slack off, as people party and stuff, it's only growing faster and faster by the day, by the year. And now it's so rapid, a new change is coming out like every month and not even being told. The change is just happening. Um, and it's been happening like that for like at least the last few years. Um, and so that's where the concern lies. And I think it's important for us to understand how that affects us in the future, the future, or not even just the future, but the present time, right? How that's going to affect me as a content creator. Me personally, I'm not too concerned because I understand the mechanics of it. I understand how to maneuver around it. Now, I think a lot of the concern is just going to how do people perceive this? How do people move forward? How does society move forward? And in America being one of those one of the countries people look at in terms of revolutionizing certain ideas, aside from China, maybe in Germany. Um, America leads. America leads, generally speaking. Um, we've got a rapid growth and development, but things change. Now we got robotics. That's really come to the forefront. people were saying we're really close to a singularity or quantum computing coming online, in which we're already gearing up for that. We've got quantum fiber, we've got protocols, we got, the frameworks are being, it's there. It's there, it's getting there, and it's speeding up.
What does that mean? What does the quantum computing mean though? What would that mean for us?
Quantum computing essentially means, and I'll give a very simple explanation. Right now, I know you've watched The Matrix, right? Right now, we're on a system of ones and zeros. At least what we're told. At least that's what we're told, right? However, in certain IPs, or everyone has an IP on the computer. The MAC address is usually in binary, right? You can convert it over to binary, and it's going to be ones and zeros per the decimal and per octets, right? So let's say your IP is 127.0.0.1, right? That's the loopback. That's going to be you, right? But that's going to be within your own. It's going to be within your own private network, not the public network, right? And so I can't get to that IP unless I knew your public IP and could somehow get past it undetected. It's gonna be. I would have to be a risk taker, and whether or not that's true, that's whatever. But what quantum computing does is, instead of those being ones or zeros within those octets, because you can calculate if it's a 1 and it's in the first octet. You can say, okay, well, now we're counting. There's a counting system. There's a chart where you can calculate that, right? But if it's 1 and instead of it being 1 or 0, what quantum computing does is it gives you, instead of regular bits, it gives you what's called a qubit, right? And a qubit is basically it's either a 1 and a 0, right? So it could be a 1 and a 0 at the same time. It just depends on the need set of that particular IP, right? Which essentially is like a singularity, right? If they basically describe that's instantaneous communication.
Oh, my bad. I want to say something too. There's something important. The overall goal in computing and functions in all algorithm is for performance and the efficiency of that performance to be fast. And in this case, the performance, you know about performance, right? Like the time log.
What do you mean?
Like this is a O of 1, like, because this is an instantaneous performance, being that it's able to read.
Specifically,
I forgot. Let me look at it.
Because there's a lot of purposes to
this is data structures and algorithms. Like,
I feel like you're a little. I feel like you may be a little
big O notation. I mean, it's nothing like this is like all basic computing. Like every single algorithm, like the ultimate goal is for everything to be in big O notation, be O of 1 time, be executed in O of 1 time, meaning it's executed in a single run. It doesn't have to go back and check for it. Like if statements or for loops, right? When you have a for loop, it's O of n time, because the n being the amount of times you have to go through the for loop. So that means it has to go through the function that amount of times. It has to keep going through until it finally the function is called, and the return statement is called. So coming back to this, when all functions and everything is it's dumbed down into zeros and ones, which is assembly code. That assembly code, whatever answer you're trying to determine and read, it's determined by a singular value, whether it's 0 or 1. Like every single return thing, it's essentially a 0 or 1, a true or false. But what you're saying is we eliminate that true or false and combine them into a singularity, as you're saying, which is the qubit. And instead of it reading it as either true or false, it can skip that and immediately determine it because it's a singularity, whatever input you're putting into this into quantum computing. So that's what I'm thinking. Does that make better sense?
Yeah. Basically, I guess
No.
you're speaking. So I'm gonna reinterpret this because he's speaking as a programmer. So essentially, what he's saying in programming, there's something called like Boolean fashion, right? Where it's basically the true or false per the statements that you write, right? And this is coding, right? However, and of course that's just it's very surface level. However, what this does, I think inserting this, making this a code thing is not really the point here. Again, it could affect code. I wouldn't necessarily use code in this example.
No, the thing to focus on with the big O notation. The goal of the qubit is to focus to make all algorithms execute in O of 1 time. Big O notation is the speed of how algorithms perform. So that's the purpose of like quantum computing, to make sure algorithms perform at that speed or even faster. So, but most algorithms, aside from that, doesn't utilize quantum computing. It performs in O of n or O of log n. You know, there's a bunch of different performance things that things can perform. But O of 1 is the fastest and the best, and what ultimately we're trying to achieve with all algorithms. But it's generally not possible unless you use qubits. I'm assuming.
Oh, but this is through the use of IP though. We're talking like IPs, right? Which is data
So
that
what do you
isn't
mean by
necessarily
IP?
always going to use it.
But yeah, what does IP mean? Like
Networking. We're talking networking, not programmable networking, right? And in a sense, what this does is it allows things to be in 2 states. This isn't speed, right? This is instantaneous, right? So where a bit would be calculated given however fast it could travel from one node to the next. What happens with a qubit is it's all instantaneous. It's basically, it's like, okay, I want to go to that node. It makes that node whatever it needs to be that node, right? Which of course that I don't know how I don't, essentially that's all, it's instantaneous, right? And that's the main thing that I think is the revolutionary topic there, right? Things are instantaneous. This essentially means communication is instantaneous, and it takes no time to travel from the satellite in space to your workspace, right? It's essentially teleporting communication, right? And in a sense, you could potentially think of something like Star Trek, right? But in Star Trek, what they do is a sort of warp speed. And in a sense, this is sort of like a warp speed. And we'll warp to basically understand warp speed isn't traveling super fast. It is moving from one part of space to another, right? And that's essentially what's happening, right? So that's the level of that's where we're at in society now. We're getting toward preparing for that. But yeah, I understand. I understand you got to go, Sai, pretty soon. Hope to give you a better idea as to that. But generally, like, the concern comes within like robotics. Being as AI progresses, people are concerned about AI and quantum computing is right there. You got already China coming out. China basically on the cusp of invading Taiwan, which has some of the leading GPUs in the world, which basically run these databases, right? To help large company, tech companies basically build their infrastructure and their AI models, right? So with that and robotics, it's looking a little, I don't know. Terminator at the worst. You got, of course, Blade Runner in there somewhere. Maybe I don't know what's another. You got iRobot now with the robots. And then I don't know. I don't understand the purpose of an everything app. I know for me, is very interesting. I think a few months ago, sometime last year, we talked about there's a movie called Idiocracy. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but they got like these automated like Carl's. They got like an automated Carl's Jr. and everything's in Costco. It's pretty funny. But they also have, like, you know, what happened is I think Texas and California, and I want to say Florida. They all had like these automated, like fully automated, like Taco Bells and where people just drive through, and these are real things you can YouTube now. People are driving through and they're typing, "I want this." But what started happening is people started messing up. Well, let me get like 1,000 water cups, right? And then someone would have to like tune it, would have to like remote in and fix. But they're trying to get to like full on demand, where basically it's just the operator, the tool, basically absorbing the knowledge and distributing that. But people were sort of messing that up, so they had to rework that system. But yeah, it's in development now, guys. I don't know how I feel about it. It's I just say it's best to like educate and stuff. Yeah, hey, we got a new one on the podcast. Oh, hey.
She gonna fully utilize AI when she grow up.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff. I just, you know, it's some stuff on the news. Some, you know, it's very easy to see through what's really going on. And you know, it's interesting. You know, they say everything is controlled by BlackRock, and if this is the way, this is the way.
And BlackRock run the prisons.
BlackRock run the prisons and run society.
Right.
No. Oh yeah, but yeah, I'm not gonna keep you guys on here much longer. I just wish you guys would stop by for the watch parties more often, man.
Hey man, I'll try. I definitely try to, because I always watch the latest episodes. It's just probably not during the same time frame that you watch them.
Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah, sometimes I show up and I'm like, "Where's the episode?" and it's not there. So
I try to communicate to you whenever I before I do watch or whatever. Like, oh yeah, I forgot. Also, I was watching Creature Commandos.
Creature Commandos.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that. Creature Commandos? Have I seen that? Creature?
Yeah, Creature Commandos. It's DC Universe based.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Is that new on Max?
Yeah, you should check it out.
I don't have Max. I got like Apple TV.
You should check it out though. It's more adult.
I might have to check it out.
It's more for adults. Creature Commandos.
Yes, sir. I got it written up. This is a nice list.
Yeah.
I love adding new stuff to my list, even though I haven't watched like 90% of the stuff on my list.
Yeah,
it's a one day. You know,
is DC based? It's only like I think 7 episodes for this season.
Is this a remake? I've could have sworn.
No, it's not a remake. Trust me.
Commandos, that's like Frankenstein, right?
He's in it. Yes, he's in it. Yes, but it's only 7 episodes, and it's pretty damn good. I liked it.
I'm gonna check it out. Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey guys. Well, hey, that's the podcast, guys. Yeah, I'm gonna basically.
Oh my God. They just dropped. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man.
Drop the
Let
ball.
Damn. God. Damn.
I returned it.
Dropped the pass. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, we had lost the season, motherfucker. God damn. You right there.
Hey guys. Hey.
God damn, you dropped the pass.